Hiya folks, so this is question 2. So it's on the line, so a line 3x minus 6y plus 2 equals 0, so it contains this point k and 2k plus 2 over 3. So k is an element of the reals, find the value of k. So you have to, all you're going to do when you know that a point is on a line, so it doesn't matter what it is, as long as a point is on a line you can just sub in the values for it. So that's your x coordinate and that's your y coordinate. So you can just put in those instead of your x and y. And it should work out nicely here then with things that have just k in it, with an equation with just k in it. So 3 times x minus 6y plus 2 equals 0. So I'm going to sub in x for k, k for x, minus 6 times, and then it's 2k plus 2 over 3, plus 2 at the end equals 0. So I get 3k, and then this 6 and 3 will cancel out, so you're left with 2 times 2k plus 2, so that'll be minus 4k minus 4 plus 2 equals 0. So I'll move all the well, you can leave, it'll just be minus k on this side, 3k minus 4k, then you've got minus 4 plus 2, so that will be minus 2, so move that over and it'll be positive 2. So k is equal to minus 2, so multiply both sides by minus 1 at the end. So that's all for question, or for part A then. Right, part B, the point ST, so PST is on the line x minus 2y minus 8 equals 0. So the point P is also a distance of 1 unit from the line 4x plus 3y plus 6 equals 0. Find a value of S and the corresponding value for T. So it looks like we can generate two equations here, so that's going to be, we're going to use that for the first one and then this for the second one. So if you take this fact here that the point PST is on the line x minus 2y minus 8, similar enough to the first part A, you can just sub in the x and y values for that. So x minus 2y minus 8 equals 0. I can just sub in st in for those. So if I sub s in for x, I get s minus 2 times, and then sub t in for y, t minus 8 is equal to 0. So s minus 2t is equal to 8. I'm just moving over the 8 to the other side. So it's going to be simultaneous equations, I'm pretty sure. So that's going to be one equation. For the other equation, it's distance from a point to a line. So a distance from a point to a line. So if you look in your log tables there on page 18, and you can use this distance of a point to a line, and yeah, it's actually not on that page. I think it's on page 19. Yeah, so distance from, so if you look at the top bit there, so distance from x1, y1 to the line ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So we can use that equation, or sorry, yeah, so so a x1 plus by1 plus c, and it's absolute value signs over a squared plus b squared, and that will all be equal to 1 in this case then. So our a will be 4, our b will be 3, and our c will be 6, and then our x1, y1 in this case will be s and t. So then we're just subbing them all in and we'll get another equation with s and t in them. So you need to leave your infinite, or your absolute value signs there anyway. So a is 4, x1 is s, plus b is 3, and y1 is t, plus c, so plus 6, all over root of 4 squared plus 3 squared. So a and b, so equals 1. So you'll know on the bottom there anyway, 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, so add them together you get 25, and then the square root of that will be 5. So that works out nicely on the bottom. The top, you're going to be left with absolute value of 4s plus 3t plus 6 is equal to 1, and then the absolute value of 4s plus 3t plus 6 is going to be equal to, bring across the 5 and multiply it, and you get 5 on that side. So you're left with the absolute value signs then, so you need to do something with them. So one thing you might be used to doing when you see absolute value signs is, what you could do is you could square both sides. So you could square that and then square your 5 and then try and multiply, well, everything out. So you'll see there you've got 3 terms in that. You've got 4s, 3t and 6, so you need to multiply everything by everything in it, and then when you've done that you'll have to sub in what s is from over here, or what t is, and then so it actually, I've done that and it gets very complicated very quickly. So an easier way, what you can do is you can just take, because it's absolute value signs, you can just take the 2 options. So what's inside that there, 4s plus 3t plus 6, that has to be either positive or negative. So you get 2 options then, so or, so either minus 4s plus 3t plus 6 is equal to 5. Or just 4s plus 3t plus 6 is equal to 5. So it's either the positive or the negative of it. So you've got 2 options. If you just multiply across there by minus 5 in the first one, you'll get it all equal to minus 5. So 4s plus 3t plus 6 is equal to minus 5. Now if you bring over the 6 there on the left hand side, so 4s plus 3t, bring over that 6 and it'll become minus 11. And on the right hand equation we get 4s plus 3t is equal to 5, take away 6 is minus 1. So we've got 2 little equations here then, so we've got 2 options for them. So if you go back up to our first equation we had right back at the start of the question, we had s is equal to 2t, sorry, s minus 2t is equal to 8. So if we're to rearrange around that equation a little bit, just move that minus 2t to the other, you get s is equal to 2t plus 8. So s is equal to 2t plus 8. So we can use that then, we can just substitute that in for s down here. So 2t plus 8. So 4 times 2t plus 8 plus 3t is equal to minus 11. And over here the same thing, so 4 times 2t plus 8 plus 3t is equal to minus 1. So we get 8t plus 32 plus 3t is equal to minus 11. Bring the 32 to the other side and we'll get minus 43. So minus 43 is equal to 8t plus 3t is 11t. So t then has to be equal to, and you have to do minus 43 divided by 11t, or just by 11 actually, so we'll just leave it as minus 43 over 11. The other side then we get 8t plus 32 plus 3t is equal to minus 1. So 11t is equal to minus 1 take away 32 would be minus 33. So this is working out a little bit nicer, so t is equal to minus 3. We divide across by 11. So we've got two values for t here. Back up at the question from the start, find a value of s and the corresponding value of t. So we have to, I've done this backwards a little bit. I have two values for t, so I could just sub them back in and get a value for s. So I'm using this here then. S is equal to 2t plus 8. So I'm subbing both of my values for t into this then. So s has to be equal to 2 times minus 43 over 11 plus 8, or s is equal to 2 times minus 3 plus 8. So the one on the right is simple enough. S is equal to, it'll be minus 6 plus 8, which will be 2. The one on the left here, so 2 times minus 43 would be minus, it'll be 86 over 11 plus 8. So then yeah, you can put that in your calculator and you should get 2 over 11. So you've got kind of 4 answers here then. We've got 2 values for s and 2 values for t. So when s is 2, so when s equals 2, t is minus 3. And when s is 2 over 11, then t is minus 43 over 11. And there are 2 answers. We only need one of those answers, so the one where s is 2 and t is minus 3 is obviously the neater one in the end, but it doesn't really matter. So we just needed one value of s and one value of t. Yeah, so find a value of s and the corresponding value of t. So that was along part B. Right, so part C then. So the first part anyway, so find AD. So we need to find the distance between A and D. So D is here. We're not told what the points are yet, so we need to figure them out. Now for this part, I think there's a formula in your log tables for working out the point for D there, so where it cuts the line and the ratio of 2 is to 1. So you're given the ratio 2 is to 1, you're given the points either side, so I think you can put all them into the formula if you want. What you can do though is you can just look at the difference between them. So if you look from here, so we're going from 4, 2 all the way up here to 16, 11, and you're cutting them in the ratio of 2 is to 1. So if you look at the x coordinates, so we'll look at the x coordinates and we'll look at the y coordinates, and we'll do them separately. So the x coordinates, you're going from 4 and you're ending up at 16, and we want to see what is 2/3 of the way along that. So what would 2/3 of the way be there? So 16 take away 4 would be 12. So what's 2/3 of 12? So 2/3 of 12 would be 8, wouldn't it? So if I just add on 8 from 4, then I'm going to get to what 2/3 of the way would be. So 4 plus 8 is equal to 12. So 12 is going to be my x coordinate. So I'm just looking at what is 2/3 of the way from A to C. So I have to jump 12 places all together to get from A to C. So what would 2/3 of that be? Well, that would be 8 steps. So 4 plus 8 is 12. So 12 will be my x coordinate. So it'll be that point D there will be 12 something. The y, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going from 2 up to 11. So my y coordinates are 2 and 11. So think about that. I'm trying to see what is 2/3 of the way from 2 to 11. Well, if I do 11 take away 2, that's 9. So 2/3 of 9 is 6. So let's just jump. Let's just take what I'm on at the start, 2. I'm going to add on another 6, and that will be 8. So 8 is my y coordinate. So I've worked out the point D there is the point 12, 8. So you could have used that formula in the log tables, like I said, but that if you just think about it like that, it's just a little bit easier, I think, than trying to fill in formula. So then we're just using the distance formula. So AD with the lines around them like that means the distance between A and D. So A is 4, 2, and D is 12, 8. So our formula, look into your log tables again, is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So it's just the difference between the x coordinates and the y coordinates, and then Pythagoras for working out the distance. So 12 minus 4 squared plus 8 minus 2 squared. 12 take 4 is 8, so 8 squared is 64, so square root of 64 plus 8 take away 2 squared is 6, so 36. And we don't even need calculator actually. 64 and 36 is 100, and we should know that the square root of 100 is 10. So 10 is our answer, so it'll just be 10 units or whatever it is there. Yeah, so there's no real, so it's just units. So 10 is our answer. Right, the last part here then, you just need to work out what B, the coordinates of B are and E are. So it's actually not that complicated. they tell us that AB is 33 units. So if you look at that in the diagram there, so 33 units. So it takes, so if you're on 4, 2 there, you're going 33 units across basically to the right to get to what the coordinates of B are. So if you think about it, to get to the coordinates of B, then the y coordinate won't change at all because you're just going 33 units to the right. So if you go to any point on the coordinate graph and you go directly right, your y coordinate will never change. So it's still going to be 2, and your x coordinate is just going to be 33 to the right, so it'll just be an extra 33. So 33 plus 4 is 37. So that's the coordinates of B, 37, 2. You have to get the coordinates of E then as well. Now what you could do is, you could do exactly like we did in the last part there, just between 16, 11 and 37, 2, and just work out what's 2/3 of the way up. Because you know that it's going to be the same thing, so they divide in a ratio of 2:1 as well. Another way you could do it is, because everything divides in a ratio of 2:1, this line here from D to E, that has to be 1/3 of what the line at the bottom is, of what AB at the bottom is. So that has to be 11 units there. So similarly, like we worked out the point B, if you just go 11 units to the right, the y coordinate won't change either, so it'll still be 8, and then 11 plus 23 would, plus 12 would be 23. So 23, 8 has to be that point there. So when you move to the right, the y coordinate never changes. Similarly, when you're moving up, the x coordinate won't change. So that's all for that question then. I don't think you need to show workings for that really. If you want to go show workings, you could do out like we did in the last part, or you could show something like, or write a little bit about what I've said there. So 37, 2 and 23, 8. That's all for that question.